Hello students, good morning. So how's your feeling today? Good? Alright, that's good to know about that. Do you have any ideas what we're going to learn about today? Let me give you a hint. Imagine you are telling a friend about an amazing adventure you had. How would you make it sound exciting and memorable? Well, today we're going to learn about how to write recount text. Do you know what recount text is? Recount text is a type of text that retells events or experiences that have happened in the past. The primary purpose of recount text is to inform or entertain the reader by sharing a series of events in chronological order. It focuses on personal experiences, historical events, or factual accounts of what occurred. Here's the general structure of recount text. The first one is orientation. This is where you introduce the who, what, when, where, and why of your story. It sets the scene and gives the reader a starting point. The second one is events. This is the heart of your recount text, where you describe the events in chronological order. Think of it like a timeline of what happened. The last one is reorientation. This is where you wrap up your story, often with a final thought or reflection on what happened. It's like tying a neat bow at the end of your narrative. By following this structure, you can create clear, well-organized recount texts that are both informative and enjoyable to read. Now that we've explored the basic structure of recount text, now let's dive into the different types. Just like a library has different sections for different kinds of books, recount texts can be categorized based on their purpose and the kind of events they describe. Next is, do you know how many types of recount text? Let's look at some of the main types of recount text. The first one is personal recount text. This is the type of recount text you're probably most familiar with. It's about your own personal experiences, like a trip you took or a fun incident that happened. Think of it as telling a story from your own life. And the second one is factual recount. This type of recount text focuses on events that happened in the real world, but not from a personal perspective. It could be about a historical event, a scientific discovery, or a news report. It aims to present information objectively. And then next, the third one is imaginative recount. This is a type of recount text where the events are fictional, created from the writer's imagination. It's like telling a story that could have happened but didn't. Think of it as a blend of storytelling and recounting. And the fourth one is a biographical recount. It tells the life story of a person, focusing on significant events in their life. It includes their background, achievements, and impact, presented in chronological order. And the last one is a historical recount. It narrates important past events, focusing on their causes and effects. It also follows a timeline and aims to inform readers about key moments in history. Both types of recount are factual and educational. So today we'll focus on personal recount text, where it tells you about holiday story. But before we jump into the example of recount text, I'm going to tell you the language features that we usually use in recount text. The first one is past tense verbs. Recount texts are all about describing events that have already happened. So use past tense verbs like walked, played, saw, heard, and felt. And the second one is time connectives. To make sure that the events are told in the right order, writers use time connectives like first, then, next, after that, finally, and meanwhile. These words act like signposts, guiding the reader through the story's timeline. Next is descriptive language. To paint a vivid picture of the events, writers use descriptive language to help readers imagine the sights, sounds, smells, and emotions associated with the story. They might use adjectives, adverbs, and figurative language like similes, and metaphors. And the fourth one is third-person pronouns. Often recount texts use third-person pronouns like he, she, it, and they to tell the story from an outside perspective. This helps create a sense of objectivity and distance from the events. Next is action verbs. Action verbs describe what people did in the events. Examples: explored, enjoyed, watched, and climbed. And then the sixth one is specific participants. Recount texts mention specific people, places, or objects involved in the events. Examples: my family, the teacher, the museum, and Bali. And the seventh one is adverbs and adverbial phrases used to describe how, when, and where the events happened. Examples: yesterday, quickly, at the beach, and last week. Alright, now it's time to put your recount text knowledge to the test. I'm going to give you some multiple choice questions. So you need to read each question carefully and choose the best answer from the options provided. Are you ready to see how much you've learned? So here I'm going to set up the time up to 10 seconds. Now you've already answered all of the multiple choice questions. Was it easy or was it difficult for you? So for the next step, I'm going to test your comprehension to identify the generic structure of recount text based on the text provided. So now you need to pay attention to the text and read it, then identify which one is the orientation, events, and reorientation. My unforgettable holiday in Bali. Last December, I went on an amazing holiday to Bali with my family. We stayed there for a week, and it was one of the best vacations I've ever had. Bali is famous for its beautiful beaches, unique culture, and warm hospitality. On the first day, we visited Kuta Beach. The golden sand and the sound of waves were incredibly relaxing. We spent the whole day swimming, sunbathing, and watching the sunset. Later in the evening, we had dinner at a beachside restaurant, where we tasted delicious seafood. The next day, we explored Ubud, a town known for its traditional art and rice terraces. We visited the Ubud monkey forest and saw playful monkeys swinging from the trees. We also stopped by some art galleries and watched local artists creating beautiful paintings. One of the most exciting parts of the trip was visiting Tanah Lot, a temple situated on a rock formation in the sea. The view was breathtaking, especially during sunset. We also took lots of pictures to capture the moment. Overall, the trip to Bali was incredible. I experienced new things, learned about Balinese culture, and enjoyed the natural beauty of the island. I can't wait to go back and explore more of Bali in the future. Last Sunday, my family and I went to the beach. We left the house at 7 a.m. and arrived an hour later. The beach was not too crowded and the weather was perfect. We spent the whole day swimming and building sand castles. Around noon, we had lunch under a shady tree. My mom packed sandwiches and fresh fruit for us. After lunch, we took a walk along the shore and collected seashells. At 4 p.m., we decided to go home. It was a fun and relaxing day at the beach. Okay, so that's all the material for today about recount text. So, did you enjoy learning it? I hope it wasn't too difficult. Remember, recount texts are all about telling stories from the past, and with practice, you'll get better at both understanding and writing them. So, thanks for joining me today, and don't forget to review what we've learned. Keep up the great work, and good luck!